welcome to my channel. My name is Sandra and today's video is going to be about marriage, and it's going to be about fighting fair in your marriage. If you've ever been in a relationship, arguments happen. You know that. It's not that you want to argue, it's just that it happens. And I wanted to make this video today because we've been spending a lot more time at home now. Some people like myself are working from home. My husband is home with me as well, and we have a 2-year-old. And some people unfortunately have lost their jobs and find that they're spending more time at home now too. I know that it can sometimes feel a little bit claustrophobic, and spending so much time with each other when you're not used to it can sometimes cause arguments. I just want to give you guys some of the rules that we have come up with together as a couple. I definitely suggest that you sit down and come up with these together as a couple. You don't know when you're fighting dirty, but your spouse does. So they're gonna call you out on it during this time that you guys are coming up with these rules. And one of the other things that I want to mention is to make sure that you guys come to the table and bring your rules and not get offended. This is not the time to cause a fight. It is a time to really talk about what you guys have been doing wrong and fix it, so that these next few days when you guys are stuck together, you guys can find peace in fighting. At the end of an argument, you guys can find peace. I hope that some of these rules help you guys, that you adopt one or two of them, or maybe all of them. Let's get started. Happy fighting. Number 1 is nobody leaves the house, okay? We don't grab our keys and head out the door, bye-bye, like I'm mad, I can't stand you right now. No. We've decided nobody leaves the house. You can go into a different room if you need to cool off, but nobody's gonna go for a drive to cool off their heads. We're gonna stay in the same home until we have talked our differences out. And yeah, that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is we don't use our daughter against each other. I see this happen a lot with couples that are getting divorced. They're mad at each other and they use their kids. You can't see the kids because I'm mad at you. And honestly, that's just childish, and that's not, you know, playing fair. It's not fair to the kids. And so, for example, if Luna, who is a total daddy's girl, is happy and sitting there with dad playing, and then, you know, we have a disagreement and I want to walk away, I'm not going to take her from her happy environment and then, you know, close the door on my husband and not let Luna see him. We don't do that. That's another rule that we have made up, especially after we had our daughter. Number 3 is that we only discuss the topic on hand. So we don't bring up topics that made us upset the week before or days before. So if we're talking about, I don't know, him losing $100 and that's what the issue is and that made me upset, then we're gonna discuss that. We're gonna discuss how we can make the situation better, you know, what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right, how we can fix it. But I don't bring up that 2 weeks ago he forgot to take out the trash. We don't bring it up until everybody has had a cool head and we've already talked about the missing $100 or whatever the issue is at that point. And once we get through that, we come up with a solution and a better way to do things in the future, then we don't touch any other topic. Every other topic is untouchable until the one at hand gets settled. Number 4, at the end of the night, no matter how mad we are with each other, we end up sleeping on the same bed. And I am totally guilty on this. I'm totally guilty. I have, you know, been so mad sometimes that once he falls asleep, I will go and I will sneak out into the couch without him knowing. And it's kind of like throwing a tantrum in a way. So it's something that I have worked on. I used to do it all the time before, and now, you know, as time has gone on and as we've learned more from other couples, from church, from marriage books that we've read, we have decided that no matter how upset we are with each other, we're going to sleep in the same bed, and I'm getting better at it, I'm working at it, and yeah, even if we're upset, we try not to go to sleep upset with one another, but if we are, we still sleep in the same bed. Everything in the morning is a lot better, brighter. You feel better because you slept it out. And then, you know, you can just do morning cuddles, and who doesn't love those? Number 5 is we ask for a timeout. we're both adults and we're aware of our emotions. We know when we're getting frustrated with one another. We know when we just need to kind of go into our own corners. Think of it as like a boxing match without the actual physicality of a boxing match. You're going head to head and it gets intense. You keep a clear head, you try to use tact, but there comes a point where the other person is kind of just, you know, hitting you with all this stuff against you, and you kind of start getting a little bit dizzy and you're not thinking clearly anymore. So all that training, all that other stuff kind of just goes away. And so this is the time where the bell rings and you ask, hey, I need a timeout, and you go to your corner and you clear your head and you think about what you're going to say before you say or do something that is going to offend or hurt the other person. And then you come back with a clear head with the things that you actually want to say, and you want to get across the important things and not just the hurtful things. Number 6 is we check our vocabulary. One of the things that I was doing, guilty again, was that I was using the word always. You always do this, you always do that. And you know, that really put my husband down. You know, he didn't like it, and even though I didn't realize I was doing it and I didn't feel like it was that bad, it was offending him. And so whatever point that I was trying to get across by using the word always wasn't really getting across because he was feeling offended. So what I have started to do since we had our discussion and we added this to our rule list is to stop using the word always. So whenever I want to make a point across, I omit the word always and then I just get my point across. It was kind of like a filler word, like okay, but so. I use so a lot, but I stopped using it because it was offending my husband and I had to stop using it. Number 7 is my hair. Number 7 is we don't interrupt. When we are having an argument about something, we let the other person get their point across. In this instance, I let my husband talk about his perspective, the way that he saw things. Maybe if he got offended by something I said and I didn't mean to offend him, I let him explain his side of the story. And then when he is done, then I give my side, my point, my perspective, and what I intended to say. Sometimes we can say things, or at least for me, I can say things in a certain tone that come across, I don't know, you know, mean or hurtful. And it's not that I try to be, it's just that I tend to be very blunt, and that's something that I'm working on, but he always checks me on it. If he says something when he is telling his side of the story that I want to elaborate, then I go ahead and do that after he's done, but I don't interrupt him. It is rude. If you have kids, you know that when you are trying to talk and have a conversation, tell a story, and then they come and interrupt you, you get upset, you get frustrated, and you tell them, don't interrupt, it's rude. Don't show other people respect that you don't even show your spouse that you spend a lot of the time with and live with. At first, it wasn't like that. Most of these rules that we have actually come up with have been because we've done these things and we were both upset about, and now that's something that we have decided that we don't want to do anymore because it tends to hurt the other person. That's why it's important to come up with these rules. Number 8 is we give just as much weight to the things that matter to our partner that we do to the things that matter to us. So what this means is, for example, when I was just talking about checking our vocabulary, if it really offends him that I use the word always, then I'm going to change that because it matters to him and he matters to me. It's not that using the word always matters to me, but he matters to me, and I don't want to offend him, and I don't want to make things worse. I don't want to be hurtful intentionally after he has told me that hurts him. So for example, sometimes it can be anything super tiny, like, you know, how the roll of toilet paper goes on. I don't care, you know, so if I don't care but he cares, then I try to be very conscious of when I put the roll of toilet paper because it matters to him. And it's just little things like that that we do on a day-to-day, but sometimes when we come into an argument, we forget about, and, you know, we think, oh, you know, you're telling me not to use the word always. Well, that's silly. Like, I don't care. You know, that's not a big deal to me. And that's not the point. The point is here to try to make less of a situation. Try not to add fuel to the fire. You're really just trying to eliminate any little spark to make things worse. You're trying to make things better. So that's what that's about. And if something really matters to you, and you know, if something really mattered to me and he was telling me that it was silly, then that would make me upset and it would make me feel worse. Number 9 is we negotiate. After we have had an argument, we've talked about all the things that we did wrong, and now we sit down and we talk about what we could have done better, how we're gonna do things in the future, what's allowable, what's not allowable if we're ever in the same scenario again. And that's important because in the future, like, you don't want to be the person that gets your way all the time, or you don't want to be the person that loses in order to give someone else what they want, in this case your partner, because then you're not going to be happy and you're going to have resentment towards them. So that's why it's so important to actually sit down and talk about, hey, this made me feel this way and this is what you could have done to make me feel better. Or sometimes it happens that there really isn't anything that they could have done any better, and that helps you, talking it through helps you realize it. But you know, just really sitting down and having a game plan for next time, it's really important to do that, because then you're not making the same mistakes all over again and causing the same hurt over and over and over again. And then number 10, it goes without saying, all of these rules are ground rules to show each other respect, to make arguments that are already hard go a little bit smoother. But number 10, I just want to tell you guys, I mean, this should be number 1, but number 10 is, do not insult each other. Do not use any sort of word that you know triggers the other person to get even more upset. Do not use foul language. Do not use, you know, you're dumb, you're crazy. Do not use that demeaning language towards your partner. Show them respect. It's not about showing them respect when everything is good. It's about showing them respect in the middle of the storm, in the middle of an argument, when things get heated, when you're not really thinking rationally. That's when you have to remember, I can't use that language, I can't disrespect him or her, because at the end of this fight, we're still gonna be married to each other. We're still gonna be living in the same home. And is it worth me hurting this person in this moment because I'm hurting? It's not. It's not. It's never worth it. So those are our 10 rules for fighting fair. For now, and these might change in the future as we encounter new difficulties. So these can change, we can add. I mean, we probably started with 1 and then, you know, have added in these 8 years that we've been married. I hope that these help you guys. I hope that you guys are staying safe and that you are taking this time to get to know each other if you don't really get to spend a lot of time with your significant other or with your kids, and now you guys are all in the same house at the same time and you're wearing multiple hats. Stay strong, and if you guys want to connect and chat, you guys can go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'm going to link my handle down below, or you guys can leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. That's kind of the beauty of having a small channel. I can pretty much get back to all of you. So thank you for watching, thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Now I can see. Oh.